everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Debbie and I read a lot of books. This is the third book in my 7 books of Christmas, and today's book is The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold. A lot of people might know it as a movie that was done a few years ago. I haven't seen the movie, I've just read the book now. I have attempted to already make this video, but I had a bit of a breakdown while talking about it because it's a very powerful book. Might as well just read the blurb to you so you can understand why the breakdown happened. My name was Salmon, like the fish. First name Susie. I was 14 when I was murdered on December 6th, 1973. In heaven, Susie Salmon can have whatever she wishes for, except what she wants most, which is to be back with the people she loved on Earth. In the wake of her murder, Susie watches as her happy suburban family is torn apart by grief, as her friends grow up, fall in love, and do all the things she never had the chance to do for herself. But as Susie will come to realise, even in death, life is not quite out of reach. This book made me cry. It really did. I cried so much while reading this book. As you can probably tell from the blurb, this book is basically a murder mystery with a twist, and you're hearing it from the point of view of the person who was killed. Because Susie basically watches her murderer walk free, and she's seeing her murderer interact with her family, and she's there trying to drop hints from her own personal heaven. As I said before, you know, I cried reading the book. I kind of cried while trying to review this book because it touched on something very personal. I'm not sure if I've talked about it on this channel before. At some point I want to do a video about grief because I ended up in grief counselling in 2016. We lost a lot of people in my family in 2015. And to be honest, it all kind of started off in 2012 when my mum's mum died, and then end of 2014, 2015 was just grief heavy. We were going to a lot of funerals. I look back on 2015 with mixed memories because of how many funerals I went to and how I was dealing with my grief at the time. And this book really made me think about grief in general, and kind of the things that you do to try to kind of move on when somebody's passed away. Because the fact is, grief is like waves. They get far and few between, but it still affects you. The waves will continue to come, just they'll get less and less as you get older. And, you know, the further away you get from what's happened. Like, there's some things I can talk about now without crying, but catch me on the wrong day and ask me about something and I could totally burst out crying. Christmas is a tough one for my family because we see all the angels, and like, I've got my guardian angel. I've got a necklace with angel wings on it which is dedicated to somebody in particular, and when I see angels at Christmas that makes me cry because I think of my angel. Anyway, to move on from that part, The Lovely Bones. One of the things that's underneath the book on my page here says, The Lovely Bones is the story of a family devastated by gruesome murder, a murder recounted by the teenage victim. That does sum it up quite well, I think, because, as I said, you know, you're seeing everything from the point of view of Susie, who has been murdered. You start off meeting Susie and hearing exactly how she died, and it's a really, really hard read. There will be a trigger warning on this video just because the way she dies does involve rape, so if that's something that affects you, obviously don't force yourself to read the book. It's not as graphic as some books might go into it, that obviously it's from the point of view of a 14-year-old. But if it is a trigger for you, I say don't put yourself through it, or you can try and skip that chapter where she talks about how she dies. The fact that she's watching over her family and friends from her own personal heaven and watching them kind of try to get on with life without her. I think it's one of those things where if you are somebody who has been affected by somebody in your family or a friend passing away, you kind of know what that feels like. you know, when you think about the fact that you're going to have to get on up with life without that person in your life, and you do just get on with it. You know, at first it's really difficult and you're just like, I can't believe, you know, they're gone. And then it comes to a point when it's just like, that person died, but I'm still living and I need to continue living. The world carries on moving, the seasons keep changing, and yeah, this has become quite a deep conversation. But a book like this really does kind of start a conversation about death and grief. If that is a trigger for you, I'd say that it might be a difficult book to read. So it's in contemporary fiction, crime thriller mystery, and it's 328 pages long. It has become a movie. I'm not quite sure what year the movie came out. I might just have to check that. The movie was in 2009 and starred Saoirse Ronan as Susie. And it's got quite good cast. There's like Stanley Tucci, Rachel Weisz, Mark Wahlberg, Susan Sarandon. Yeah, it's a really good cast. So I can imagine this being quite a good movie. But yeah, it is such a powerful book. And just to see it from the victim's point of view really does just turn that kind of story on its head. You're so used to reading murder mysteries from like the arresting officer's point of view or the family's point of view, and to have it from the victim's point of view. I don't think I've ever read a book like this. I can't think of any. If you've got any other books that kind of do go from a victim's point of view, I'd love to read it. So if you've got any recommendations, just pop them in the description below. To say I enjoyed it, I'm not sure if that's the right word. It was gripping, and I think I read this one very, very quickly. I think it's just the concept is so good and it's well executed. It's a satisfactory ending, but it's not exactly the ending that you really want from it. Seeing how Susie tries to manipulate what's happening back on Earth. She's watching her murderer walk around. She knows how her murderer and her family are kind of in close proximity, and so you do get frustrated. You get frustrated with Susie at seeing her murderer walk free, while her family are aware that the murderer is still out there and they don't know who it is. Just a very, very powerful book that's very gripping and an interesting concept. So that's The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold. That is the front cover. I will pop a link in the description to where you can find it. I definitely recommend this book to people who like crime and thriller and murder mysteries. It does have elements of comedy in there. There's a good ebb and flow to the storytelling. There's a quote from the Daily Mail on here that says, "It takes the stuff of terrible tragedy and transforms it into something hopeful and redemptive." That's a really, really good quote that helps you kind of understand what you're getting into. Tragedy to hopeful and redemption. This was an incredible book. If this was a physical book, this is one that would go onto my keep shelf. This was a ebook, but I have a feeling I want to get the actual physical book to put in my collection. Lovely Bones, Alice Sebold. Just incredibly, incredibly powerful book. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching. My name is Debbie. If you're not subscribed already, please do. There'll be a little reminder somewhere on the screen, maybe in front of my face. But yeah, just thanks so much. And I'll see you tomorrow for the next book. Mwah. Stay safe, everybody. Oh, what's going on out there? There's some work being done on a house down the street, so that might have something to do with that. It takes the stuff of terrible tragedy and transform... I can't speak. Why does my brain keep stop working? Keep stop working? Stop keep.